This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. We've all heard this term before. They've got baggage. They have baggage. And it really is true. You know, when I first used to hear that many years ago, I would think of, relationships and, you had things happen in your past and maybe you carried along with you, but it goes way deeper than that. Call it emotional baggage that we're carrying. I like to refer to it as a backpack. You got it on your back, you're walking around. After a while, you start tipping back because we've had, as humans, especially as adults, so many different emotional experiences that we really need to heal from. And there's many ways to do it. One of them is energetically, and we're going to dig into that today. She is the person behind My Crystal Portal Center and Holistic Experience. They do this in Louisiana and virtually, and it's so great to have her back with us. Our professional of the year, Rochel Rittgers, is on the program. How are you doing today?
Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for having me here today. This is great. I'm excited to talk about this topic.
This one's big, isn't it?
It's huge. Yes. Huge.
And is this what we just touched upon in the past when we got together about our past and what we dealt with as children and what is in our subconscious and how we're pulling that along with us?
Right. There's a variety of ways that we picked up traumas, we picked up energies that we're carrying around, high frequency, not high as in elevated, but as in bothersome energies within us. And a lot of it comes from our perception of circumstances from the past, our perception of what happened to us from the past. It might or may not be completely true, but it can be pretty significant. For example, when my parents divorced, I thought it was my fault. I was 9. I mean, how could it be my fault? But I blamed myself, and as a result, carried that trauma inside of me forever. And then later in my life, in my 40s and 50s, I was, reacting to circumstances related to love because I was blaming myself so heavily for that kind of thing.
I got you. I understand. My parents got divorced pretty much before I was even born. And the things that you carry on, the things that you internalize or interpret as kids, and there's lots, even just that one scenario, you might think it's your fault as a kid. You might feel abandoned as a kid. And then later in life, and we're just scratching the surface here. Now think of all those situations, everything that you experience as a kid. And in my journey, the last couple of years, I've been going back in my mind to little flashes along the way. And one of them, I'll share with you. I was in 11th grade, and I don't know how this impacted me, but I never forgot it. But I do believe it's one of those seeds that got dropped into the subconscious, for good or worse. And I was in art class, and I always wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a cartoonist. I came very close to being a syndicated cartoonist when I was in my low 20s, pivoted over to radio. But art was my therapy as I processed this stuff, thinking back in time about the divorce stuff and everything. I would draw. And now I see it as, oh, that was your therapy as a kid. Now, fast forward, 11th grade, doing a painting, and this nice little fall scene with a barn, and the wheatgrass leads your eye to the barn, and it was fall. I just couldn't do the sky. It wasn't coming out right. So the teacher walks by, and I said, the sky, I can't do the sky. It's just not looking right. And I'll never forget, with her coffee breath from New York, she says, takes the brush, and she goes, came out great. And she goes, you know what you are? You are an underachiever. And I never forgot that. The following year, I was voted class artist. So I'm not sure if that pushed me forward or pulled me back, But that's
Mhm.
one little thing. Now add
Right.
those all up. You're the kid passing at 6 years old the kitchen. You hear people talking. It's not even about you, but you hear something and you're like, oh, that's me. That's for me. That's in your, now you're holding that. That's your backpack. Let's walk around and now become adults with all of that. Is that those things that we're talking about? Am I in the even
It
close to it?
is, it's exactly that, Stephen. When we have really little kid experiences, and then, as we get older, we're piling more and more layers on top of those little kid experiences. And so as we get older and older, into our 40s and 50s, we've got a whole library of painful experiences that we've, stored very eloquently. and,
Mm-hmm.
but that is the goggles from which we're looking at life. And so if those things are painful and we're looking at life through painful eyes, then we see painful experiences out there. But if we didn't have all these painful things going on in our life and we weren't storing them, I mean, everybody has painful stuff going on. But
Mm.
as kids, we're very good at storing them because we don't have the tools to deal with them, or our parents didn't have the tools to help us deal with them. And so we carry this stuff around and we're looking through our goggles of, pain and trauma. And so we see life as, the world is painful and traumatic. And yeah, that's the vision from
Mm.
which we see life. Yeah.
And Rochelle, as I understand it, your subconscious, that's where all this is stored, the little file cabinet in your mind.
Mhm.
It's always looking for evidence. So it sees or hears one thing as a kid, then another one, then another one. Now you become an adult and you don't even know what's going on up there, but it's like, well, yeah, you aren't good enough. Look at you over there, like, in your subconscious. And now you try to navigate through life, relationships, emotional
Mhm.
situations, and you're already skewed and you're trying to
Right.
get, like swim through the river of life. And now you've got all these,
Right.
things in the way. There's a branch in the water. There's that. I got to swim around that. I don't even know how to get past all of that. Uh, I look now that I know all of this kind of stuff or I'm learning about it. I wonder how the hell we do life as adults. I really do. I'm not being facetious. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a rare person that really is walking around seeing life, with a beautiful eye, you know, and it's those people who have literally done the work to help sort of extract these stories so that they're not bogging them down in such a big way.
Mm.
And I was raised with, even after the divorce, I was raised in the Unity Church, which is the power of positive thinking and life is lovely and God is love and all of this, peaches and cream kind of stuff. And still, through all the training that I had, and I had tons of training, I went to all the people that you've heard of, Dale Carnegie and all the, you know, self-help people. And I still had this impending sense of self-doubt and it just didn't make sense to me.
Mm.
And so I went into meditation with it resolve. I'm going to find out about this thing. And I was using a particular technique at that time from Susan Shumsky's book, Divine Revelations. And that technique sort of guides you into a meditational state where then you ask the question and you always get the answer, she said, right? And so I'm
Mm.
like, okay, I'm going to try it. So I sat down and I went into this meditational state. And sure enough, I asked why, I literally, wasn't very eloquent, but I said, what's with the impending sense of self-doubt? And they showed a picture of my father driving away in his car when my parents divorced. And I was like, okay, I've seen, that picture had kept, sort of flashing in my mind periodically over the years. And I was like, okay, I've seen that picture before. What does it mean? This is the first time I've asked, what does this really mean? And the message that came to me was, if your father would leave, it means he doesn't love you. And if he doesn't love you, no one will. That is the baggage that I carried around my whole life. And so I was so unlovable in my mind that how could anybody love me, And so I had this self-doubt that was permeating through me at every step. It was powerful. Yeah.
Whoa. Uh, just that visual is painful.
Yeah.
Just you saying that, as a kid, there's a song that came out in the 70s. Wayne Newton, maybe? Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's impressive that you would even remember that. That's huge.
That's how my brain works. I'm like kind of freaky
Yeah.
like that. You said it. Oh, dropped in there. I haven't heard that song in
Yes.
like 60 years, 50 years. I don't even know. Yeah, isn't it something? Now, I want to ask you, and thank you for sharing that. You had that image in your mind. It wasn't
Right.
like it's one that just popped up. Oh, epiphany.
Yeah.
But now with that meditation, you saw what it really meant, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. And that seeing images like that is one way that people can get an idea of what they've stored that is hurting them that they don't know about, right? I just thought it was a memory. I just kept saying, oh, there's that memory again, you
Hmm.
know? Oh,
Yeah.
there's that memory again, you
Yep.
know? But I didn't realize it was so pivotal in my life. Yeah. And so then, for the next however many years, I spent trying to figure out how do I unleash that? How do I release that? After I saw it and got that message, I was like, huh. Didn't even bring tears at the time. It was like, that's good to know. You know, wish I had known that 20 years ago, kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I did, then spent time in meditation trying to figure out how to release that, you know? And I did get the information. The information was downloaded, not only how I could release it, but how I could help others. And that's where the emotional release technique came in.
Wow. And I've done
Yeah.
hypnotherapy and
Yeah.
saw those images. And like you, it wasn't images that I've never seen or couldn't conjure up, but during hypnotherapy where you can access your subconscious, they were more vivid. They were
Hmm.
more powerful. Yeah, it wasn't, emotional release and healing, some
Yeah.
healing in some regards, but more understanding, but mostly reassuring the kid in you, which we all have, call it the shadow, the little kid in you, that I'm there for you.
Hmm.
Maybe nobody else was, but
Yeah.
I got you. So don't even worry about it. And that
Yeah.
was pivotal. But tell us how you can help somebody heal from this stuff.
Well, I mean, people can help themselves for sure, just like what you were saying. What I do is I take them into a deep meditation and I can see the stories that they've held. I can see where they've stored them in their body. I can feel the depth of emotion that they're experiencing. And so, as a result of being able to experience all that for that person, then I can talk them through, okay, this is your story. This is what you were wearing when you stored this energy. And let's reach into that little person that you were, bring them out, you know, let's talk to them. Let's
Hmm.
tell them how important they are. Let's tell them how loved they are. Let's help them feel more powerful about themselves than they were feeling because the depth of that pain that that little person was holding is still stuck inside of you.
Yep.
And we've got to bring that pain to the surface so that we can directly address it. And it isn't about reliving the experience. It's about healing the pain. And
Hmm.
so, going back and reliving the experience actually just solidifies the pain more.
Right.
We don't do that. We just love on the person and help them relieve the pain that they've experienced for so long. Yeah. And sometimes there's more than one story. In fact, most of the time there is more. But if you can get to the base seed story, my seed was about my father leaving, right? Um, when you can get to that base seed, then a lot of the other ones just come drifting away. They tumble away because the base was so heavy and so influential in your life.
It's I got a vision of a tree, and that situation, dad going away. That's the tree trunk, and the other stuff are the branches. So once you take down the
Oh,
tree, the branches go with it.
right, right. It's so amazing. It's so
Mm.
amazing. And it is interesting if you're experiencing a number of similar, if you will, repeat pattern kinds of experiences in your life, chances are there's one at the bottom that's the seed. And if you clear that seed, all those repeat experiences go away and you stop having those repeat experiences.
Another analogy, it's like the old classic cartoon character on a rug, and you go, whew, and now the rug the person falls off the rope, blah, 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 and that's it. You pulled it, and now we're good.
Yeah.
And now we're
You
good.
pulled the rug out from underneath it. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
But probably most people have experienced these repeat things, the same, in my, my client stories are often, I'm dating the same guy over and over again, just with different clothes on kind of thing. Those are repeat experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we look at those things and we can shift the base of it, where did that original pain come from? Right? Where did that original feeling of loss come from? We can get to that. And then, the next guy that comes along is going to be completely different.
It's amazing when you start analyzing this in your life. And then what I say is connect the dots. Like, oh, that's why I do that. That's why that happened. Even back to, something that you see in your mind in your childhood. I went through a string of meeting women with lots of anxiety. Like, what is this? What's going on? Like, elevated. Why? What's going on? And thought about it deeper, meditation, things like that. I was like, oh, okay. Well, as a kid, I had anxiety, so I kind of worked through that. It's all good now, not even. But the pinnacle point, and I never even thought of it. My mom had it. She was very overprotective. I had a great relationship with her. She passed 7 years ago. I think my relationship is just as good, if not better, because I feel her presence. Another podcast there.
Oh, I love that.
But I think I was attracting it for that reason, or I'm, in a way, I'm the helper. I'm here to help you. I'll walk you through it, which I did in a lot of different relationships. But I'm convinced that that's what it was. I was attracting it.
Well, chances are, as a child, you had to be the grown up oftentimes because mom was not strong, right? She was carrying so much anxiety that she couldn't be the strong one, right?
Yeah. I had my own
you took
challenges
on
too.
that role.
I got bullied as a kid and lots of other stuff. And, but again, once you have that awareness and try and put it together, and just what you said about, seeing your dad walk away, like that's just one moment, how it changed your life.
Yes, absolutely. And it was, literally, a 2-minute experience, and that was it. I had no idea how that affected me. None.
Yeah.
I had zero awareness of that. And then I, piled on all this positive thinking on top of it. I often say I had, an ice cream sundae with a cherry on top with a poop emoji in the cone, kind of thing.
I got it. I totally got it. It's like lipstick on a pig, that kind of thing where it's,
right, exactly.
But you didn't know.
Exactly.
Like you didn't know.
I had no idea. I
Right.
had no idea because I had, glossed it over with so much, rose-colored glasses stuff, right?
And of course you would. Like, why not ride on the side of positivity? I try to do that. But sometimes it's a unintentional cover up. I'm intrigued how meditation was the magic for you in many regards. Tell us how that worked.
Well, you can meditate and just sit and pay attention to your thoughts. And a lot of times the thoughts have similar themes, so you can come up with information that way. You can go in with intentional, purposes, right? So in that meditation I did, my intention was I'm going to find out about this. And so then you essentially throw the question up to the universe, your God, whatever you want to, send your meditation to, right? Whatever you feel is your higher power. And that information can come in. And the technique really is just breathing, with 3 or 4 breaths, breathing deeper, deeper, deeper into your consciousness. And, shedding like the ego, for example, and shedding anything that prevents you from being separated from your highest self, your highest God self. Yeah.
So a couple of questions on that. Nothing wrong with just having a clear mind, taking a moment, 5, 10, whatever it is during your day. But in this situation, it sounded like you were asking the question as you're about to meditate. All right, this is what I need to know. Calling in my spirit guides, whoever you want to call in to give me the answer. But deep intentional breathing
Right.
to focus you there, focus the other stuff out, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm learning even recently about the power of the breath work
Mm-hmm.
and how it can take you to another place. Is that what's going on here?
Right. Our audience would, I mean, everybody can do this. Breathing in to a count of 4 and out to a count of 8. Because when we breathe out slower than we breathe in, it signals to our body that we're safe. And
Mm,
so when
mm.
we can calm our body, then our mind, our consciousness can, you know, go focus on different things, be more involved with deeper things, right? But when the body feels unsafe, when we're experiencing pain, when we're experiencing other kinds of health challenges, then the body doesn't feel safe, and it's hard to go into a deeper meditation.
I just wrote that down. Um, Seriously, and I've heard it before, the 4, the 8, but never knew it was to tell you that you're safe. Because what are we doing? We're not safe.
Yeah. Right. Yes,
Shallow
exactly. It's
breaths.
like
We
a
don't even know we're
pain.
doing it.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So oftentimes meditation leaders will, have you take a few calming breaths. That's the purpose. Just calming down your body and your mind, actually, because you don't want this spiraling thought process going on when you're trying to meditate either, because, all of us have tried to meditate and we've got, written 6 books while we're doing it because so many things are happening in the outside, you
Yep.
know, that keeps us from feeling like we're quiet, right?
So that's essentially the start of the healing with the intense emotional release.
Yeah.
What do you do if you get caught up in a situation where you have that memory, where you're feeling that pain, and you haven't eradicated it, if you will? You know, you haven't
Mm-hmm.
gotten to that point, but you're in that. Oh my gosh, I'm back in that. That tornado again. Can you do this as well?
Absolutely. The first thing people should do is not bury it again. When it's sitting on the surface, go to it. Go to the little person that you were when that story happened and find out what they're feeling. Allow your emotions to emerge because allowing the emotions to be burned, to be, to actually be felt helps to release that story. It's
Hmm.
not about the story, it's about the emotions. And when we actually feel the pain that we didn't feel before, right? We didn't know how. It was too much. Maybe it was so painful that we just shut it off completely. That happens often. And we actually sit and feel that pain that you experienced during that story. Allow the emotions to just be fully felt. If that looks ugly, if that looks like a lot of tears, if that looks like tears for an hour and a half, allow it to happen. And when those tears finish, it's like you burned the gas of that pain away and you can stand in the light again.
Hmm. It's my understanding that we are the only creatures that cry emotional tears. Other creatures have tears, but it's to clear out their eyes so they can see better, in the jungle, whatever it might be. We do it for another reason,
Mm-hmm.
but that reason is a release. There's chemicals that come out, there's more.
Yeah.
And one other thought, I've often heard that when these things come up, these situation scenarios, painful, it's your subconscious saying, hello, I need to be healed now. That's why I'm
Yes.
throwing it to you. Here, help me, help me.
Yes.
Mm. And of
It's
course,
so true. And we see those glimpses of pictures, or we have a glimpse of a memory and we don't realize it's anything but a memory, right? But that's a perfect clue. If that's happening to you, if either of those, memories or experiences that you're actually visualizing in your inner mind, your inner eye, if those are showing up, they're showing up for a reason. Your higher self wants you to look at them and process through the pain that you experienced during that story. And so many people will push it aside and say, I'm fine, but I'm going to look on the bright side. That's great, but then you have an ice cream sundae sitting on top of a poop poop emoji.
I like to say you're halfway there. You're doing the right thing to be positive. However,
Exactly.
it's a big cover up. It's a big, and I don't
Yeah.
mean that in a bad way. I
Right.
give anybody credit, all of us, for trying to take the positive train. But maybe that's not the train you need to take. Sometimes you need to take the crappy car to get there, and feel the bumps and everything and all of that. Wow. I knew this would be a great topic today, just seeing, this one of many modalities you offer, but so much better. You make it so clear, understandable, and attainable. That we can be helped, we can move forward, we can be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And take the
And it's
backpack
easier
off.
to ignore it. It is easier to ignore it,
Oh, sure.
but then you're going to see, triggering experiences happen that are similar to triggering experiences that happened before. And, if you are triggered, it isn't about what you're seeing in front of you, ever. It's about something that happened when you were young.
To use a cliche, I don't like to, but you can run, but you can't hide. Really what it is.
That's right. That's right.
I
Yeah.
can follow you.
And I do like the positive. I mean, you should always focus on positive.
Sure.
But in your own private times, go after those circumstances
Yeah.
because you can heal that and even feel more positive then.
Beautiful. This is what you do. There's a piece of what you do.
Yeah.
Best way to find you, what do we do?
Go to mycrystalportal.com for sure. We also have a Facebook page under my personal name as well as My Crystal Portal. And both of those is where, we do weekly lives where we do readings and all kinds of treatment like that. And I can do distance healing for the trauma release work as well.
It's so funny. When we first met doing these shows, I was like, oh, cool. The crystal lady, My Crystal Portal. All right, nice. Learn about crystals, got some, going to learn more. This goes way deeper than that in such a beautiful way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It really does. Yeah.
Rochel, thank you for today. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
This has been awesome, Steve. Thank you.
Everybody,
Stay.
take off the backpack or at least open it up. Go inside
Yeah,
there.
stop dragging that wagon around.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.